Hey, Matt, Red Root Defense here. Welcome to Monday. At least it's Monday when I'm making this video. I don't know if it'll be Monday when it comes out, but in any event, it's Monday here. So I'm trying to make the best of it. We're going to talk about something that ought to lighten up your Monday just a little bit, the 1022. Now, we've covered several of the 1022s on these videos before. This is a new version of it, something that's come across my shop. And unfortunately, I've had a couple of them come through that got sold before I had a chance to do a video on it. And I thought, I really need to do a video on this thing. And I actually got to shoot the last one. Got to put a scope on it and actually take it to the range and zero it and do some testing with it. And man, was I impressed mightily. So as soon as I could, I got another one in. And so before we do anything with this one, before it goes away, we're going to do a review on it. And I really have some plans for it as far as taking it to the range. So you can see just how good and just how much fun it is to shoot this thing. But to start with, we're going to talk a little bit about 1022s in general, because while I've covered some of that stuff in other videos, I've never really done a little introduction to it. Just something to tell you where it came from. So I'm going to do that today. The 1022 was introduced in 1964 by Ruger. It was designed to be like a rimfire companion rifle to what then was the also new the 44 carbine. If you've ever seen a 44 carbine, it's very similar in design to the 1022. And unfortunately, the 44 carbine fell by the wayside at some point. I think it went through a couple of different generations too before it was finally just killed for good for whatever reason. And that's subject for another video some other time. But the 1022 kind of took off, and it has been around ever since. So this thing, what is that, 1964? Was that 60s? Well, a little over 60 years, the 60th anniversary, was put out earlier. We did a video on that earlier. So it's been around a while, and it's been pretty much a success the entire time it's been out. The two or three of the reasons why, when it first came out in 1964, it was a little different than most of the 22s that were on the market at the time. The first reason was the 1022 rotary magazine. Now, Bill Ruger designed this magazine, as far as I know. This is kind of a unique magazine, and it just works. It saves space. It's a boxy. Like I said, it's a rotary round design. And it just functions. It's a good, solid magazine. You can take it apart to clean it. I've done that before. I don't know. It's been a while since I've done it. It's a little bit tricky, but not too bad. But it's just a good, functional magazine. And matter of fact, there are other rifles today that use this type of magazine. I know the Springfield, for one, interchanges. They've got a magazine that's identical to this. And you can use both magazines because I've done that in testing. They also have produced over the years a lot of extended magazines. The BX25 is one. This is their standard extended magazine, 25 round. This is the one that works most of the time. But aftermarket wise, there's 100 different magazines, stocks, everything. The 1022 has become one of the most customizable rifles ever. Part of the reason of that is because of the second innovation for the 1022, which was their barrel block. It made it very easy to take out the barrels, swap it with different, swap the barrels, change the barrels out, do whatever. That made it customizable and made it easy to do. So those two parts of the design have stuck and has been that way, throughout its whole run. So the original 1022 in 1964, had a walnut stock, 18.5-inch barrel. It was blued. It was drilled and tapped for a receiver. Receiver was drilled and tapped for a scope. The MSRP in 1964 was $54.50. And I wish it still was. But really, when you think about it, it's not that far off. Some of the anniversary editions, like this one, some of the different ones, they're more expensive. But your basic 1022 really has stayed just about as cheap for almost, I don't know, it's been fairly cheap ever since I can remember. Like it's more expensive now because everything is, but I guess adjusted for inflation, I don't know what those numbers are, but it's not too bad. I mean, $300 or less even. Sometimes you can get a good basic 1022 carbine. So it's one of the most reliable 22s ever made, just in my opinion. So that was in 1964. In 1965, they changed it. It was no longer the 1022. They called it a rifle sometimes, but they officially changed it to the 1022 carbine. Nothing changed. The barrel length remained the same. The stocks went from maple to what they call hardwood, which could be birch, it could be maple. Um, my understanding as far as that goes is the birch stocks. I've read where the birch stocks were discontinued in 2008, and I think that's when they started going to a lot of the polymer stocks. But since then, a lot of the wood stocks have come back, and again, they just say they're hardwood. And my understanding is they're still using birch, except for some of the maybe one of the special editions I've been told might be a walnut or a maple, but I don't know. I can't get anybody at Ruger to tell me for sure, what it is. So it's a hardwood stock, whether it's birch or maple. It's very few walnut stocks are out there nowadays, simply because of the cost. The weight has something to do with it, but the cost does too. Anyway, some of the different iterations of the 1022. They had a Sporter model from 1966, and I don't know if they still make it right this today, but they have been making it until not long ago. The Sporter could be identified by a similar stock to one of the anniversary models, as I mentioned in an earlier video. The Sporter also had sling swivels. It weighed a little bit more. The original 1022 weighed 5 pounds, and it stays about that today. The Sporter weighs about 5.5 pounds. The Sporter also had some checkering on the stock. The 1022 International was another interesting version that came out from 66 to 69. They did it again in the 90s from 94 to 2003. And what this was, this had a full-length Mannlicher walnut stock. And it was very interesting. It shot well. It was, of course, heavier. The version that came out in the 90s was a birch stock. But it's easily identifiable as the full-length stock, runs the entire length of the barrel. The 1022 Target, originally it was a 20-inch bull barrel. It had no sights, and it was drilled and tapped for a scope or mounts. Of course, accuracy it was designed as a bench rest rifle. It weighed a lot. It weighed 7.5 pounds, but that was a 20-inch bull barrel. And we've seen some variations on that, with the light varmint target, for instance, being one of them. It had a bull barrel that was threaded. It was a little bit heavier. It had a Sporter style stock. That was a great version that I liked. Other iterations of it, just to be brief about it, you had the Magnum version, chambered in 22 Magnum. There was a finger groove Sporter model, the 1017 carbine in 17 HMR, the 1022 target rifle, the 1022 rifle that has a longer barrel. Of course, the different anniversaries, the 40th, the 50th, the 60th, the 75th, some of which we've already covered in some videos. I've already covered in some videos. Like I said, all the while, pretty much the basic action has remained the same. It's just been a different barrel or different stocks. But the receiver, the magazines have generally remained the same. The original versions had, for instance, talking about the magazine, had a magazine release that was in front of the trigger guard. The newer ones have a magazine release that's been worked back towards the trigger that's easier to reach with your finger. There's been, the finishes have changed somewhat. They come out in some stainless steel versions. I think finishes today are a little bit different than they ever have been before, because I don't know. There's not too much out there, in my opinion, with the traditional blued type finish. Everything is a black or an anodized or just some sort of. it's a cheaper way to do a finish. Whether it's more durable or not, I couldn't tell you, but it just don't look as good as the nice original blue. Just my opinion, I'm old. That's the way I like things. So anyway, some of the other iterations, there have been carbines, like I said, the compact version, the tactical versions, the takedowns, which are really neat by themselves. So the 1022 in its 60 years have encompassed a lot of different changes. And to this day, like I said, you can still get the standard 1022 carbine, or you can go all the way up to these anniversary editions that are different and the takedowns. So there's something out there for everybody. So what we're going to talk about today is one of the newer versions of this. And this is, as much as I like the other ones that I've seen, this version really has blown me away. This version is awesome. Excuse me, I get excited. I need water. This version is awesome. The first time it ever came through here, and I took it out of the box. Actually, I didn't even have to take it out of the box. All I had to do was pick up the box, and you could tell the difference. So you may already know from the title of the video what I'm thinking about, what I'm talking about. The carbon fiber edition. This is the Ruger with the standard receiver with a carbon fiber barrel. This was the 2025 ICA Industry Choice Awards Specialty Rifle of the Year. And I honestly can see why. So I ordered them for the first time, and my packages got here, and I started taking them out of the package box. You can tell just about right away. I mean, this thing was different. I mean, I could not wait to get it out of the box. So I'm looking forward to showing you, how this works with this particular box. This has one of the Magpul MOE X22 stocks that we've seen on like the 60th anniversary. I believe it was the 60th anniversary. Has M-LOK slots in it. It has a texture on the stock. This is a cold hammer forge barrel tensioned in carbon fiber sleeve. Features a 1.5 by 28 thread, so it is threaded. It's fitted with a thread cap, which you'll see. This also includes the BX trigger. The BX trigger is arguably one of the best of the triggers for the 1022. And up until recently, it was not a standard item. It was something you could buy and put in. But there's been a few versions of it that's come out that's come in standard with the BX trigger, and that's a plus if you like the BX trigger particularly. But I mean, I like it. It's noticeably better than the standard trigger. This is a 2.5 to 3 pound trigger, so it's a very smooth trigger. Everything else still is about the same. This particular version has a standard mounted rail. So, and the most impressive thing about this, besides the finish, besides the way it looks, is the fact that it weighs 3.5 pounds. That's pretty light. So, all that having been said, get this out of the way. Get this box open here. I've got a new camera set up and you can't see the box when I open it. That's okay. That means you don't see me trying hard not to rip this box. Yes, I'm going to say it. What I normally say. I hate cardboard boxes. I wish this rifle cost $10 more and it came with a nice plastic, hard plastic, molded case. That would be a beautiful thing. I've got some, to be honest. I buy these cases from Ruger sometimes, and so I've got some Ruger marked cases, and what I'll probably do is put this in that case. These boxes, I'm sorry, they're cheap and they don't last, so I'll shut up about the box now. All right. Also, while I'm unfolding this box and getting this ready, I'm going to remind you that everything you see in these videos has been bought by my shop, or it's mine personally, or it belongs to a customer. This particular rifle is part of my shop's inventory. So nobody sent me this for free. I'm not giving anybody a bonus what is it, a bonus review. You don't get bonus points because I'm using one of your loaners or one of your tester guns or whatever. Obviously, I don't rate as a gun writer, so this thing was paid for by me. And if I like it, I'm going to tell you. And if I don't like it, I'm also going to tell you. This is a gimme. I like this anyway. So let's take this box apart. You see, as always, it comes nicely wrapped in plastic, though. So let's see what all we have in this box. And I know this, I just took this out. This is the last time it'll ever fit in here like it did when I got it. It'll never happen again. So we have the obligatory lock. And that's interesting. Normally, sometimes in these 1022 boxes, there's a rail or something. All that's already on the rifle, so that's it. You get the lock, and you get the manual. So let me move the box out of the way. That's all there is. Get rid of that box because it's in my way. And here we have the manual. Again, my standard thing. If you have a manual, please take a minute and read it. All kinds of good stuff in these manuals. They wouldn't give it to you if they didn't intend for you to look at it, okay? I know they're probably forced to by lawyers, but they've been giving us manuals away with their guns ever since they started. So that was before the lawyers got their grips into everything. But it was intended to be read. There's all kinds of good operating information, troubleshooting information in here. If you don't have a manual, call them up. They'll send you one. Most manufacturers will. If it's something that's so old, you know, that we can't find it, I bet you we can find something online that will cover it. So read your manual. What we have in here, got some interesting stuff. Got some Ruger stickers. Man, bonus. I think we got dead gum. I think we got got 4 stickers with this thing. So that, hey, we got lucky. Join the NRA with a discount off the regular rate. I highly recommend that if you're not already a member. If you are a member, then pass it on to somebody else. Get 20% off at shopruger.com. I always recommend shopruger.com. They have good sales. Of course, this is the Do You Own One of These? And I just covered this in a recent video, safety conversion for your old model revolvers. We still do this. And then, of course, you have the manual. Now, I will admit, some of this stuff, it's like reading your car manual. You ever notice when you get a new car, a new truck, and you look at the manual, there's like 200 pages on airbags and how to use your seat belts. Thank you, lawyers. That's lawyers. So there's a lot of safety stuff in here. Officially, you need to read it. It's just, how this, be sure to use your safety. The basic rules, safety rules of gun handling, all that kind of stuff. It's good to know, and it never hurts to have a refresher once in a while. But I will admit there are times when I just skip right over that stuff. I'll admit it because I'm a human being. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Here it is, all wrapped in plastic. Ta-da, how about that? So let me back up a little bit so you can maybe see. This might be one of the first ones I can get the whole thing in the picture at once. Almost, not quite, there we go. There it is. Start over at this end. Look at this thing. I mean, it's compact for sure. The barrel length on here is only, well, it's just a little over 16, so it's really not that different. I mean, you have to feel it. You really have to feel this thing to understand it. It looks cool. It looks very pleasant. It's a very nice rifle, no doubt at all in my mind. But until you actually pick it up, I mean, let me see if I can do this. If I can balance it, Getting it balanced on one finger, that's the key. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping it balanced. Yeah, one finger. One finger. All right, let's do the obligatory, even though this just came out of the box, okay? Chamber flag. Magazine. We're good. Now, that ought to satisfy some of y'all. This is just the neatest thing. I mean, I just cannot get over everything about this rifle. The carbon, you know, just the texture, the way the barrel looks when it's got that carbon fiber wrap or whatever, and this particular stock, you have to feel it. It's got a very nice texture to it. It actually feels good on your hands. And just everything about it is just so compact and so flippin' light. Unreal how light this thing is. All right, there's your rail. Already built in. Of course, you can take it off if you want to and replace it with something different. You know, always practical as far as rigor goes. This is the other magazine release that I was talking about. You've seen this in some of the other anniversary rifles. This magazine release used to be right here. Now it is all the way down here, and it's, that kind of hard to beat that. It just drops out. And imagine if this was loaded, obviously it is going to drop out even faster. So be careful when you do that, and you don't want to do it over the dirt. Always have your hand under it or under a soft surface or something, because it is going to come right out. That's just it. It's so much easier than it used to be. It's ridiculous. Take a look at this. It's got a pretty good finish on this receiver, and even this receiver feels different. It almost feels like, I don't know if you can really tell. It feels like, what is that stuff? Line-X. That's what it feels like. It feels a lot more durable than your standard finish. And it just matches everything else because you've got that little finish on the receiver, and you've got this nicely textured stock. I mean, look at that. You got rail, M-LOK slots directly on the bottom of the stock. You got an inset for a sling here. You got an inset for a sling swivel here. I don't know what that is. There's only 1 or 2 screws that you need to take off to take this thing apart. That's pretty normal. Here's your BX trigger. Normally this trigger's red. That threw me off when I first saw it. I didn't think it was a BX trigger until I went back and looked it up on the site. It is the BX trigger. It is a nicer trigger than normal. Of course, here's your safety in the same place as normal. And here's your bolt hold button, whatever. I don't know why I'm trying to look through this. If you want to hold the barrel back. I will say from previous experience, sometimes this is a little harder than normal until it gets broken a little bit. But you press this, hold the bolt back, press this button in, and the bolt will stay back. In order to release the bolt, you have to press it again. It's kind of on a swivel almost. So there's your bolt hold switch right here, just like a standard 1022, but just in case you've never seen it before, hold the bolt back, push that button in. If you want to release it, hold the bolt back, push that button forward, slides back. There you go, nothing to it. Here's your thread protector. It does come off. Nice and heavy too. It's not light. It's a nice metal thread cap. I like that a lot. Like I said, I will say, my previously I had one of these in the shop. It got sold, and as part of the sale, I put a scope on it and zeroed it, and I was able to shoot it. And this thing shot like nobody's business. I mean, I was tearing out the bull, the red dot on this target with no sweat. And I also shot it with my Sparrow suppressor. And when you use the right ammo, I think I tried 3 different types of ammo, and some of the CCI suppressor stuff was the best. I had no real appreciable difference in point of impact, no matter what kind of ammo I used, with or without the suppressor. And the thing with my Sparrow suppressor attached using the CCI 1,000 feet per second suppressor ammo, unbelievably quiet. So that was, and I had in mind at the time that I was going to do a video because I bought a decibel meter, and I was going to do a video showing you the different decibel levels with and without. And come to find out that the regular decibel meters that you buy do not work with firearms at all, just because it's something to do with the type of noise it is, and the type of decibel meters are not fine-tuned enough to pick that stuff up. These work great with, washing machines and stereos and stuff like that. But for firearms, you need to invest in a much more expensive decibel meter, of course, which is beyond my budget. So that did not work out as well. And I can verify that because I kept getting really weird readings no matter where I placed it. I was shooting this, and it was this rifle I was doing it on, and I was placing the decibel meter at different places, out even, directly underneath the muzzle, next to the muzzle, and I was getting, man, my readings were just bizarre. And there wasn't that much difference between the non-suppressed and the suppressed, even though there should have been. And after I started looking up why I was having all these problems is when I found out that that decibel meter that I bought was just not going to cut it, using it for firearms. So didn't happen. Anyway, this thing is so much fun to shoot. It is absolutely unbelievable. As accurate as ever. I've never had a 1022 that was not accurate, and this thing is as accurate or even more than anything that I've shot. Now, I've never shot one of the bench rest 1022s that I was talking about earlier with a 20-inch target barrel. It scares me to think how much more accurate it could be, just knowing how accurate the regular 1022 is out of the box. And even this one. I mean, this is not a long barrel, but I was still not having any problems with rounds touching. I wasn't trying to shoot in the same hole. Maybe this time, maybe I'll do that. I was thinking about using this as a test. What I had planned on doing was actually hooking up with one of these Crimson Trace red dots rather than using a specific scope. Just throwing a red dot on it because I could take that off easier if I had to. I'm not a big red dot fan, but this is a pretty simple red dot, would work for testing purposes quite well. Not really made for shooting them all in the same hole accuracy, but we were going to see how it works, and I'm tempted to do another test between the two. But anyway, I mean, I can't think of anything else exciting to tell you. Anything better. I mean, just look at it. Just looking at the thing, it's unbelievable. Just how everything looks. Fantastic right out of the box. I'm a big fan of the 60th anniversary edition of this rifle, and I still am. But this carbon fiber, I think, just took it away from me. There's several 1022s that I've liked, the LVTs, the Sporters, the Internationals with the full Mannlicher stock. Lately, the 60th anniversary, the stock is very similar to this, although not quite this textured. This, frankly, looks better. and feels better on your hands. But this, this carbon fiber, I think takes the cake. 3.5 pounds. It's light. You don't have to. It's still short. I mean, why would you even need this in a takedown? Can you imagine if you did a takedown carbon fiber? I mean, 3.5 pounds in a little backpack. You can take it anywhere. But I don't even think you need to worry about it with this much weight reduction. And that's another thing. To be totally honest, we're only talking about 5 pounds here on a standard 1022. By the time you put a scope on it, it's going to be a little bit more than that. But 5 or 6 pounds is not bad at all. With a polymer stock, it's probably a little bit less than that. That was with the wood stock, 5 pounds. Let's see, what is the standard 1022 weigh with the polymer stock? Probably still within the 5 pound range. So you're cutting 1.5 pounds off of what is not a very heavy rifle to start with. So this is just amazing to me. It's remarkable. I like it. I don't think there's a 22 out there right now that for sheer practicality and the ability to take it wherever you want to take it and how it shoots, I don't think there's a 22 out there that can beat it. I really don't. And this thing, MSRP is $650. They sell for less than that. A good bit less than that. So I don't think there's anything out there that can even touch it. To be this light, this easy to shoot, not have any problems with it. You just take it out and shoot it. It's going to shoot almost no matter what. So anyway, this is it. The 1022 carbon fiber. I mean, I highly recommend it. I cannot get enough of this thing. I'm going to do another video. I promise I am shortly. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to mount this Crimson Trace on here. And this one's going to get shot. And I don't have a good target set up as far as my videos go. What I'm going to do is just show you how I'm set up. And then I'm going to take a break and shoot. And then we'll walk down and check out the targets that I shoot. Because I'll, indicate what target is what. I don't have a camera target set up, which would be really nice, but I'm investigating that, but I don't have one. So it'll be kind of a boring shooting target, but shooting's never boring. Even when you're watching somebody else, as long as you can see the results, it's pretty fun. So stay tuned for that. It is coming. In the meantime, get another look here at all different angles of this 1022 carbon fiber, the latest and greatest from Ruger. And I tell you what, it is the greatest as far as I'm concerned. This thing is going to be hard to top. So that's that. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it very much. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't, and pass this along to somebody if you know somebody that'd like to see it. I appreciate you taking your time. Until I see you again, y'all stay safe.